Once you've made and sewn on the wig cap, and you can see here, although this is in black, you can just see the stitches here around, so you kind of do one overhand stitch for every stitch on the edge of the cap once you've placed it on the head. We're then going to attach the hair. Now I'm going to using a contrast colour so that you can see what we're actually doing. You fold your piece of hair in half exactly, and then using this loop you poke your hook into the edge there. I can show you that, into an edge stitch there, and then bring the yarn through with your hook, and then depending on what you find easier, you can either use your hook to pull your 2 strands through, or you can just use your fingers, and then you pull that knot tightly. Okay, so it's like that, so it's like a little overlooped. Now outside edge, I would recommend working every stitch, so just going to go in and through like that and pull those strands through like so, pull down. Okay, so you can do it like that, and then for the rows you can do it every row or every other row. I will show you in a moment what I did on the other doll, and you can see like so. I would work from the outside towards the center, so start and do all of your outside ones and then do your center ones in the middle there. Now I've got a couple of extras that I can just show you. So we're just going in. You'll find a pattern that will work well for you. So we're going in, pull that loop through. Always go in the same direction, just makes the hair look neater. If you feel that that's too far away, then you can actually go closer if you want to. So you can, if you feel that it's too far away, then we can just add an extra loop, an extra strand. Well, it's 2 strands of hair every time, remember, and pull it through, and like so. So you can either do it every stitch like so, or you could do it every other stitch. Now if I just show you this on the first doll that I made, she's different in that she doesn't have a wig cap, so I actually changed colour to give her like a fringe bit almost. I did cut the fringe, but I don't recommend that, because as soon as I can I'm going to replace these with longer strands again. It just doesn't kind of suit properly, it doesn't fit properly. Now you can see at the edges here we've got 1 in every row along the edge, so 1 stitch in every row, but underneath you can see that it's every other stitch for most of those. You can see that this hair is actually quite thick, and you can see here kind of the pattern that was going. So kind of every other stitch here. Sometimes it looks like it's every stitch. This is on where the increases are, so it follows the line of the increases. But that's completely up to you as to how thick you want the hair. This hair is really quite thick, as you can see. If I draw it all up into a ponytail, as you can see, when the hair is drawn up into a ponytail, there really is a lot of hair there, and so it's yeah, every other row is probably just enough on here. For the curly hair, we make the wig cap with the hair integral to that, and then sew the wig cap on around this edge here. So I'm going to show you how to start the beginning of the wig cap in the middle here, and how you make sure that the curls are all on the right side of your work. We're going to start with the magic ring, and we place the marker, and what we do, and I'm going to zoom in, what we would usually do is to do 2 double crochets in each of these stitches around, And what we're going to do is we're going to add the curls, the wig cap curls, as we go. So we're going to insert our hook into this first one. It's always a little bit tricky. Make our double crochet, and then we're going to do 25 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see, the 25 chains are about the length of the postcard here, and as we make the curl, it's going to make it smaller. You can work into the chain from the front, but I prefer to work in at the back, and so I'm going to zoom in and show you what I'm going to do. So you can go into either of these loops at the front, but I prefer the bumps at the back. So we're not going to go into the very first one here, we're going to skip that, and we're going to go into the second bump. We're going to make 2 double crochets into the second bump. Then as we're moving along, we're going to do 2 double crochets into every bump along to the end of the chain. And I will show you about halfway through. Don't straighten it out as it starts to curl. That's what it's meant to do. You can see it's just starting to curl here with just a few stitches. We are about halfway along, and you can see how the curl is starting to twist of its own accord. I'll see you at the end. And I just want to show you here, you can see that most of our curl is done and it's quite curly. And just here, as you get to the end, the last chain is here. You can see it's right next to the double crochet stitch. So right next to the double crochet stitch here, we're going into this chain as the last chain. And then because it's the second round, we have to put another double crochet into the same place that we put the first double crochet of the round. So we're going to go into there, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, through 2. So we've now got our 2 double crochets in there, and then the curl that's coming out from there. And you can see, if I compare it with the postcard again, you can see that it's actually shrunk to about half the length of the postcard now. I'll just zoom out so you can see that. So we've got that, it's about half the length that the chain was. We continue to do this all the way around. So we're going to do, into the next stitch we do 1 double crochet, then we make our 25 chains. Then we come back along the chain and go back into the same stitch, and you do that all the way around. I'm only going to do just this much for this sample, and then I will show you how to go behind the curl for the next round. When you get back to the beginning of the round and you've just moved the marker, we then do a straight round without curls. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do 2 double crochets into the first stitch of the round. So that's the one right next to the marker here. So we're going to do 2 double crochets in there. And then we're going to move the curl forward, and we're actually going to go into the other stitch that's in the same stitch, which is here, and we're going to go, can you see we're going behind the curl into this stitch. So there's a fair gap between the stitches. Pull it nice and tight and do 1 double crochet in that stitch. For the next curl, what we're going to do is, again, you do 2 double crochets in the next stitch, move the curl forward. That's only a little curl just so that I could demonstrate. And then you go into that stitch which is just after the curl has finished, and we just do 1 double crochet in there, and you repeat that pattern all the way around so that you can see this actually moves the curls forward as you go around, doing the increases as stated. As you can see on this batch of curly hair here, this is the center of your work, and you can see the magic ring, the first round of curls here, and then you can see that the row behind, so I'm going to zoom in again on this bit so that you can see the different rounds. So this is the first round here, which is the magic ring round. This is the second round, which has got the curls on it. And this is the third round, which then doesn't have curls. The fourth round, which does. And then the fifth round, which doesn't. Sixth round does, and so on. So on the back here, you can see how the increases are working on every round. When you get to round, I think it's 8, you then start to do 12 curls to the round instead of 8, and then you have to follow the instructions carefully because the increase is on one curl but not on the next curl, and because you're actually working straight after that. It takes some time to do these curls, but I think that the end result is really worth it. So just take your time, make sure you get your stitches correct, count as you go each round just to make sure that you've got everything as it should be. As you can see on the second doll here, you can see the beginning is here, and we've got 6 curls coming out in that first round, and you can see how the curls are really nicely spaced. Now all of these curls are the same length, but they look a different length when they're on the head, and you can see that the wig cap has been sewn on here. So I thought I'd show you the dolls that we've got so far and the hair on them. So this was doll number 1, and you can see that she has the colour here that is a colour difference after putting on the eyes. I don't recommend that. That was how I did it then, but you can see that it does create a little bit of a line along here where you can see the difference between the red hair and the pink skin there. I also would not cut her fringe if I had the option, so I'm going to probably redo that when I get some more copper yarn. And you can see that she has got a lot of hair. So this is her hair up in a ponytail, and you can see she's got lots and lots of hair. And if I undo it, hope this comes out nice and easily. It did. If I undo it, you can see that she's got a lot of hair. So even if you don't work into every single stitch, which she definitely isn't worked into every single stitch, you can see that she has plenty of hair to be played with. I quite like how the layering effect happens, because that's just because you're using all the same length yarn. And that's her there. Obviously you could have it a bit shorter than she does, but I think that's lots of hair to be played with there. For doll number 3, she has her wig cap on, so this means that the angle I think is a lot better around the head than having it straight across here and then having it plain skin colour underneath. So this is what I'm going to do here, and she will have some hair. I'm going to give her black hair, black wig cap, so black hair, and I'm going to make it a little bit longer, I think, than on my original. So I've actually got 2 balls of wool to hopefully give me enough wool to be able to do longer, slightly longer hair. And doll number 2, which is the curly headed doll. So we've got here, now all of her curls are 25 chains long, so they're all 25 chains long. So the ones at the top are 25 chains, the ones at the bottom are still 25 chains. You can see they're all the same length, and actually again that comes out quite nicely layered. We start with 6 curls per round and go up to 12 curls per round, so that gives it that fullness. I quite like her there. She's quite cute. And she's got, as I say, they're all the same length, and the wig cap has been sewn on afterwards. So once you've done all the curls, you sew on the wig cap around there. So you leave a long tail and sew that on. I have been promising a curly wig cap with longer strands. So I started doing this. I'm not 100% happy. I've undone it several times now, but I will eventually get there. So you can see that some of these curls are a lot longer. So some of these are 35 to 40 chains long. So they're a lot longer than the ones on doll number 2. And she's got some shorter ones at the front for the fringe for this one. But as I say, it's taking me a while to work out the lengths so that it works properly. I'm not 100% happy even now, even with all of these done. I may have to go back and do it again. So it's not going to be ready for this week, but I hope to have a variation on the curls by the 16th when we have the whole pattern come out. It might be the whole pattern might come out the week after, but we'll see. There we go. You can see the inside there with all its increases and things. There we go. Curly hair. It's very tactile. Anyway, I would love to see what you're doing with your crochet along. So if you get to this part of the video, don't forget to tag me on Instagram. Do Kaylee Rag Doll as the hashtag, or you can do @the crochet chain. And I look forward to seeing you next week.